Hey everyone, this is Mr. Ward doing a quick crash course to Flipgrid. Flipgrid is simply a website for assigning and sharing short video responses to prompts with your group or classroom. So for example, if I created a grid for my classroom and provided a prompt like what did you do this weekend, students could record their own short video responses and post them to the Flipgrid for me to review. It's great for hearing from students who might be nervous to speak into a full Zoom class or in public, but allowing them to record it into a Flipgrid might be a little bit more manageable for them. So for example, instead of discussing a topic as a full classroom and only hearing from one or two students, if you post the prompt to a Flipgrid, every student can respond and then you have a record of everything they said. So here's a quick introduction to using Flipgrid. Once you've signed into Flipgrid with your school email, to create a class, all you have to do is click Add New Grid. A grid is simply what Flipgrid calls your class or group. Once you click Add New Grid, you have the usual options like giving it a name. And then you have to choose which grid type you want to create. Selecting school email will restrict students to those students who have the same school email as you. So if you click on that, you can actually specify what email domain is accepted. So if your school ended with, for example, @school.com, then only students with that type of email would be added into the Flipgrid. If you add more than one domain, it simply lets in people from those different domains. Student ID is used if your student does not have an email to sign in with. So instead of creating a link with their emails, then you can add in the students manually. So for example, I've added in a student to my class, John Smith, and given him the student ID J9. Then when he clicks on the link to my Flipgrid, he simply types in J9 to show who he is, and then he can join that way. And then the last option is simply if you are creating a public grid that you don't want restricted to a certain set of people, this just enables you to create a public grid that anyone can join. To get them to actually join, this link right here that you create, you can send out to your students either through email, you can send it through Microsoft Teams or Google Classroom if you use those, and then you can also embed it, which is an option if you have your own personal class site. Then within your Flipgrid, all of your assignments or prompts are listed under topics. A topic is simply the prompt that you use to start a discussion. So for example, as soon as you create your Flipgrid, one will be created automatically to get started. So say hello on Flipgrid. So if we click on that topic and go to the page for it, it'll show the instructions. So welcome to Flipgrid. And then clicking this button down here will actually read the instructions if you have a person who struggles to read. And then once people start recording responses, all of their video responses will show up down here in a grid. So you can start the discussion by recording your own response as an example, which will bring up the window for recording your response. So say if I wanted to go ahead and get started and say, hey everyone, I'm excited to use Flipgrid with you. Then I have the option to add text or stickers or other things to my video to add a little bit to it, and your students can do that as well. If you want to redo it, obviously you can just redo it. Then when you get ready to post it, it'll ask you to choose a selfie, which is simply just a picture that'll show up when it displays your video in the grid. So I'm going to take a quick selfie. And so now that'll pop up on my video within the grid. These settings just let you change what your name is displayed as and the title of your video for this Flipgrid. Link is simply if you want to add a link to another page or maybe a document if you were discussing a document. So now my response shows up under responses on the Flipgrid, and then once students create their own responses, they'll all start being listed here. To assign a Flipgrid, for example, if you have Google Classroom, clicking share and then Google Classroom will open up a window. If you are signed into Google Classroom already, it'll simply pull up your account and you just choose the classroom that you want to assign it to, and then you can choose whether it's an assignment, just a question, or an announcement, and then it'll be posted directly to your Google Classroom. Of course, you can also just share the link, which will take them directly to this topic. And then a few more actions you might want to take. Adding topic guests just simply enables you to invite other guests to the topic, whether that's other teachers or maybe parents, and that just invites them to this specific topic, not to the whole Flipgrid. Then over here on the actions, you may see add to Disco library. The Disco library is simply examples of topics that other teachers have created, so it shares the topic with other teachers. When you're creating your own topic, so going to add a new topic and then just doing a custom one, obviously you can do the title and then you can type in whatever instructions you want down here, but you can also specify how long they have to record. So if you want it to be a short video, you can make it as short as possible, or you can make it, they can record up to 10 minutes. Enabling video moderation will make it so that you have to approve videos before other students can see them. That can be useful if you're nervous about what students might record before other students can see them. And then down here you have the option to link other materials or services to add to the discussion. If you end up having to do distance learning this year, Flipgrid is obviously useful for having class discussions where every student can contribute on their own time. But even in a regular class setting, Flipgrid could be useful just to have a record of what students have contributed to discussions if you would like to use them when showing evidence of your teaching. Flipgrid is extremely straightforward to use, so hopefully this video at least gives you what you need to get started. Thank you.